We're hot. We're live. Is that correct? Okay. We got a live chat. Top chat is 8. I'm waiting on the screen. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I see it now. I see my beautiful mug. Hey, welcome everybody to Model Railroading Live, the #1 model railroading show in the world. This episode of Who's Big Bill Talking To, we'll be talking with Steve Atwell from Midwest Model Railroad Hobby Shop, located in Missouri. Independence, right, Steve?
Independence, yes.
Independence, Missouri. We have everybody coming on. Cross Anchors Railroad, hello. Dwight at Northern Star, hello. John 2618, hello. Everybody get their hellos in. And tonight we'll be discussing good topic with Steve Atwell. Steve Atwell has been a long time, I guess you'd say, a collaborator, founding member when we were YouTube model builders back in the day, and stuff like that. So he's been on this journey with us for a while, kind of on the offside, on the stage, off the stage, but all giving timely advice and participating and collaborating in productions that we've done. So he's not a stranger to this or to what we're doing here at Model Railroading Live. Steve, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Bill. It's been a while, I think.
It has. I think the last time you were on, we were talking, we had that talking points thing on the NMRA and part of the panel and a few other things.
Oh, that was, man, that feels like years ago at this point.
Well, I think it was only a year and a half ago. Not
okay.
So,
a lot has happened in a year and a half, I guess.
Yes, a lot has happened in a year and a half.
I mean, this year alone feels like a year and a half.
Yeah, this is the only show where you don't have to get a nose swab to come on or wear a mask.
Oh, shoot, I forgot my mask.
Oh, that's all right. Don't worry about it. We didn't get this test either. I tested negative about 4 times now, so I'm good to go. And I had the antibody test. I don't even know if we're allowed to talk about it on YouTube unless they...
I don't think you're allowed to voice an opinion about it.
Well, we're just talking about it. So
yeah.
Anyway, thank God for social distancing and video chats here. Well, for all of you that are joining in us right now, I waited you to get in and start this whole thing. Steve is the owner-operator of Midwest Model Railroad Hobby Shop. And tell us a little bit how this Midwest Model Railroad Hobby Shop started.
How it started? Okay.
Yeah.
God, it's been 10 years now. And at the time, I was still into railroading. So when I grew up, my father was big into HO railroading. And then in like 5th, I got an echo. What is happening? Is that me? Am I echoing? Okay. So I'll just turn myself down in my ears. I get my father had an HO scale railroad until I was in like 4th grade, and then college I ended up back in railroading, and then at some point my father was going to get back into it, and we convinced him that if he was going to get back into it, he should do in scale. Since I already got in scale stuff, and then as he got back into it, there was a bunch of stuff that he wanted that used to be available in HO or still is available in HO, but like detail parts, and like he wanted to he loved scenery, so he wanted to do these scenery things, and it came down to just not being able to get it locally, not being able to get it in one spot. You have to place orders direct from the manufacturer. You'd have to order from 6 different places and pay shipping 6 different times, and ultimately it really started like that. Like this should be easier.
Mm-hmm.
Why isn't this easier? How can we make this easier? And so we set out to make it easier.
And quite a job you did. You know, I've been pretty much kind of like on the ride of this, when you first told me, because uh, Steve lives in New York City. He works on Broadway. Due to the pandemic, Broadway is obviously out until what, next June? So,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that was an announcement last week.
yeah. So, he's been home and everything working at the shop. And you guys originally worked out of the basement of your mom and dad's home, right?
Yes. So when we started the shop, it was literally like 8 by 8, maybe an 8 by 8 room, and then it took over like half of the basement, and then it eventually moved. It took over half the basement, and then it took over the family room and the basement. Um, and then we moved, and then we moved out and put it in the space that we're currently in for another week, and then we'll
Right.
move again.
Exactly. Now, how long were you in the present space?
I think all said and done, it's going to be about 20 months
So
by the
less
time.
less than 2 years.
Yeah.
Now, what's of the present space that you have? What's the size of that?
So the space we're in now is 2,000 square feet.
And the present space that we're going to be moving into is,
9,000 total square feet.
I think that's totally amazing.
Yeah. Now, about 5,500 of it will be uh, warehouse retail, what we call our retail space. Sorry, sounds like somebody's using the drill. We got 5,500 square feet of warehouse slash retail, and then 1,000 to 1,100 square feet of shipping and receiving, um, other support spaces and whatnot. But yeah, it's a total of 9,000 square feet.
9,000 square feet of model railroading uh, fun and games and total.
Yeah, it's nice because while I don't want to say we need 9,000 square feet right now, but we also don't want to move again in 2 years.
Okay, just to
Uh,
interrupt, Steve, we have some new people that are coming in, and just to give them a heads up, we are talking with Steve Atwell of Midwest Model Railroad Hobby Shop, located in Independence, Missouri. Steve is the owner operator of Midwest Model Railroad Hobby Shops. If you guys have ever ordered anything from him presently, and looking on your Yahoo News search or whatever, and all of a sudden Midwest Model Railroad Hobby Shops banners across, that's the guy to blame right there.
yeah,
That's
that is
that,
kind of true.
yeah, they are getting it all. But we're talking with Steve Atwell. Steve Atwell has been a friend of and a co, contributor to YouTube Model Builders, aka Model Railroading Live, and he has a model railroading shop that he's opened. Who's with you on this on this? Who's you have your dad and
Yeah, my parents own half the company and I own half the company. Um, my father works at the store about 5 days a week for 4 or 5 hours a day, um,
okay.
or a full day on Saturday. Um, yeah, and that's I mean that's and then we've got 4 employees that make it so that we don't have to work nonstop all the time.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I have to say at this junction of the conversation, at the beginning of this conversation, that I am totally biased to Midwest Model Railroad Hobby Shop. I am. I am a ultimate fan of them. These guys are like Steve is like they pride themselves on shipping. Like the couple of weeks ago, I was sitting at my computer and I needed a few things, and I put the order in at 1:30 in the morning on a Tuesday morning, and by Thursday it was here. And the only reason it was is because Steve happened to be in the shop when the thing came, and he picked it, packed it, and it was sent out the next day. So it took all of Wednesday to get here. By Thursday morning, my mailman delivered to me, which I was a little surprised. And then later on, Steve said to me, "Oh, I happened to be in the shop that time because we were getting ready for the move." So, what your whole thing and priority is shipping and
Yeah, well, I mean, it's for us, it's really simple. We know that as customers, we don't like to wait on products. You know, when you buy something, you've uh, you've taken your hard-earned cash and given it to a company. The least, at least as an expectation, as me as a shopper, I expect a quick turnaround. I expect them to appreciate that they have given me their money, and we should be able to do whatever we can to do that. So for me, it's simply what I I don't see why shipping should ever take more than 1 day. You know, if it's a back order, if it's something like that, maybe, but I don't really see why it should ever really take more than 1 day if it's something that's in stock. You know, if it's so we make it a priority. Um, I expect we staff as if every day is a big day. Uh, and if you know, and when it's obviously every day is not a big day. It's never the case. But we staff that way so that when it does happen, we don't fall behind. So pretty much, uh, I used to say any order in by 3 o'clock, it's shipped the same day. Our mailman has started showing up at 3 o'clock, so that kind of destroyed that a little bit. But it's still pretty much any order in by 1 p.m. is shipped out the same day. So you know, you submitted yours in the middle of the night, and I literally happened to be at the shop in the middle of the night that night. But
right.
not John or Richard or Steve would have packed it first thing the next morning, and it still would have gone out the same day.
Sure, yeah, and that's greatly appreciative because in this day and age, especially now with what we're in the midst of or coming to the end of this COVID thing, it's this has been some items you have to wait for like a week or two, but you and your guys have seemed to have stayed up on top of it, and gotten it out there. So, what have you seen in the difference in the? I mean, since this pandemic started, has it been a boom for you?
Well, so I think modeling in general has been up substantially since this started. What we have seen is what a bunch of orders that I would consider are new modelers. We see orders that are like Kato sets, so a little bit of everything, or a bunch of track and a power pack, and a handful, a locomotive and a handful of cars. Pretty much, people building sort of a starter system for themselves. Um, we've sold more track, more of the train sets in the last 6 months than I think we've sold in years combined. But it seems like people that are getting involved in the hobby that maybe had always said they want to get involved in the hobby, and now they're finding that they have some extra time at home to do so.
Hmm. Yeah, before we start getting calls and everything about the pandemic being, the reason why people are I don't want to make light of the pandemic or those that have unfortunately have gotten sick, but most people have been in lockdown and haven't, gotten sick, so they're trying to utilize their time and effort, and building a model railroad is a good thing to keep your mind off the craziness that's going on in the world. William A says, I concur. They ship quick and have good prices too. Great selections as well. Eric Hall, I'm here in the spirit driving to an op session tonight. Midwest Model Railroad rocks. Yeah, Cross Anchors Railroad. Yeah, extra time does help. Do you cater to the Cross Anchors Railroad? These guys are big O scale. Do you cater to the O scale customers?
I would say we don't cater. Anytime I get a phone call on O scale, I actually just refer them to one of the other shops in town that actually does a bunch of O scale work.
Right.
I don't want. We currently don't stock it. There's no space in this place we were in to possibly do O scale justice.
Yes.
And so we never stocked it really. And then the second part of that is I don't really want to sell anything that I can't answer a decent number of questions about. And
That makes sense.
my knowledge of O scale is that generally it has 2 or 3 rails. I don't know how it works. I think most of it runs on AC power, and that's pretty much my extent of knowledge of it. So I never want to like I I don't want to sell it. Oh yeah, great. I can provide the product at a cheaper price, but I can't answer a question if somebody calls and asks about it. So I don't. We, you know,
Right. Cross Anchors Railroad has said sad face.
yeah.
Hey, that doesn't mean it won't happen.
No. Maybe we end up with an O scaler on the staff who can provide that knowledge. But until we can actually be knowledgeable, I don't want to have anything in here that we're not knowledgeable about.
Makes sense. What's that, John?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mystic Southern Railroad says O scale takes up too much storage space, sort of like toilet paper.
Yeah, I mean, another problem with O scale is simply that everything's larger and it's a pain in the butt to ship. So, I mean, I think the majority is you're looking to service your local customers with O scale, and there are already 2 shops in Kansas City that provide a lot of O scale a lot of O scale stuff.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, with this upgrade into the shop, what's going to be more? What is it going to? What can you do now that you couldn't do before in the old shop?
Well, the first thing
Is
we're
anything going to be new?
there will be new stuff, but priority number one is getting stuff on shelves, less compacted, less compressed, and some stuff on the shelf. We got a couple batches of Walther's rolling stock in the last month that there just wasn't space on the shelf for. So we counted it in, we got it listed, we put it back in large cardboard boxes and set it on the floor underneath the shelf, which is uh, sort of common procedure in a lot of model shops.
Right.
It is not rare to go into a model shop and see stuff on the floor,
True.
but it is unacceptable to us. So first step is getting stuff back on the shelves where it belongs. Getting stuff spread out so that like when we get a batch of Walther's rolling stock in, we don't have to rearrange the entire HO scale rolling stock section just to put in the new cars. So getting stuff spread out a little bit. There's a lot of stuff that is maybe somewhat difficult to find for a customer. I mean, our regulars have picked up the system pretty good, but like Details West, we store it in bins. It's the little 2-inch wide by 3-inch tall packets.
Right.
So we have them in bins. And those bins are divided out, but like Details West 101 through 106 might be in one little slot in the bin, and then 107 through 109 might be in the next one. So getting those spread out so that they're easier to find for customers is another big thing. We have that problem. We have that similar problem across a few brands with how we store stuff in bins. And then, yeah, expansion of brands that are offered.
And what else is going to be? Are you going to be expanding the repair shop? And
Oh yeah. So one thing, this space is going to allow us to have a dedicated shop, repair shop, install shop. So we actually have a dedicated space for it, which means we can actually we've always done repairs and we've always done installs, but it's never been publicized. It's always been if a regular customer asks us if we can do it, we just say yes, we can. But anytime I've done it, like we don't do it so often and don't have a space set up that I would wait for like a few of them to come in at a time so that because I would spend 30 minutes to set up a space to work on them, and then I would do the repair job, and then I would pack it all back up because it's probably on a shipping station or it's on a desk somewhere. Like it's not somewhere that it should remain set up all the time. So we were losing a bunch of time setting up and taking down. So we just never really publicized that we did it. But now we've got we'll have a full-time repair room where everything can go in, be stored well. We can keep all the parts and whatnot in stock so that we can actually do repairs quick and easy.
Good. Robert Holman has a question. He says, I've been thinking about getting 100 pieces of AO scale Atlas Code 100 Flex track. Is there any chance of seeing that as a purchasable item or a discounted for bulk purchases?
So what we do is our discount starts. We are we discount our stuff pretty heavily already, and what we view as our full discount that we can possibly do is anytime somebody passes. Uh, Once an item is at $15, it's receiving a full discount. So like even when we sell it by the 100, like we have a 100 pack, um, but we sell the Atlas Code 100 by the 5 pack, I think. But that 5 pack is already at what we consider our full discount.
Mm-hmm. Michael McCarville wants to know, do you see more demand for modern diesel or transition era locomotive power?
Modern, it's just hands down. It's not even. I don't even think it's close. But at the same time, for every transition era thing that comes out anymore, they release three modern locomotives come out in the same period of time that one transition area comes out anymore. So um, maybe that's a little skewed. But when I say we see way more modern sales, well, there's also just way more modern on the market recently.
Mm-hmm. What is the I'm just kind of freeballing it here because I'm thinking about how is it that your prices differ from everybody else's? I mean, anybody who's the age of internet, anybody can go anywhere now. I don't have to go to one store in Parsippany, New Jersey, and then go to the local store in Staten Island and say, hey, well, the guy in Parsippany has it cheaper. I'll go back there, spend the gas, the money, the toll. The internet has made it a lot easier to go back and forth. How is it that you keep your prices down and reasonable and affordable? And
Yeah, I mean, from day one, we've known that we wanted to compete on price with everyone, and ultimately we wanted to make. One of the biggest complaints about the hobby is that, oh, it's too expensive. It's getting more expensive and more expensive, and it's expensive. You just keep hearing it. It's repeated over and over and over again. Oh, there's a new locomotive coming out. Yeah, but you see the price. Who's going to spend? So we wanted to make the hobby more attainable for anybody. So we wanted to be the best price period. So we set out to build our business with that in mind. So everything from day one has always been keeping our cost in mind and making sure that we can keep our cost to a bare minimum. And that way we just pass all those savings along to the customer. And what we've been able to do is, for the most part, almost all of our products are 15 to 20% below MSRP now.
mm-hmm. Randall Ellis would like to know, will Midwest Model Railroad hobby shops start carrying scale train locomotives or rolling stock?
No, the video's not frozen. I'm frozen. Yeah, I do believe that will probably happen in the future. Yes. I'm definitely not committing to that, but I believe that will be happening.
Okay. Cloverdale Rail Marcel Delore has said to say, when I was saying, I'm talking to Steve Atwell from Midwest Model Railroad Hobby Shops, he says, I never heard of the guy.
Yeah.
Marcel. But I had the opportunity a couple of years ago, it was about 2, 3 years ago. Steve and I took a trip to Springfield, Massachusetts to the Amherst show and picked Steve up at his apartment up in Manhattan, and we went up through the Henry Hudson up into upstate, and we carpooled together and got in the car, and he said, hey, do you mind on our way up there if we stop at my distributor? Because I have to talk to them, and they want to talk to me, and I was wondering if we could do that. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? We're on the road. Let's do it. Road trip. So we got there to this indistinguishable, nondescript,
Random brick warehouse.
random brick warehouse, and we parked anywhere. We and walked in, and I have to say, from my experience, when I walked in, it was like Christmas morning in January. It was like, welcome to the distributor's house. And they came out, and Steve started talking, and they gave Steve, the salesman wanted to show Steve some new stuff that they had acquired and that he'd be interested in. And I was standing amidst locomotives and rolling stock and everything. And it was a fascinating 2.5 hours. The guy took us to lunch. Well, he took Steve to lunch. I just happened to be there, so I got included in on it.
Yeah, we actually did. I went to Amherst this past year.
Oh, you did?
Whichever was it? Yeah, it was last January, I guess. Right, January. Yeah. Anyway, the last Amherst I went to, and I went with a friend out of New Jersey. Same thing. We carpooled up. I did not go to that distributor this time. We just went up on Saturday or Friday night and the show on Saturday. And I met with another distributor at the show on Saturday, and we went out to lunch. And Mark was along for the ride. And I think Mark got an intro into the hobby that he never expected to get. And we started, I think I did this. The same thing happened when you were there. The distributor and I just immediately start talking business, and you're just along for the ride. And at some point, we were talking about how inventory done or shipping or something like this, and Mark caught something that he wanted to get in on, and jumped right at it and was, oh yeah, I did, and then provided some information that as he's an outsider, right? That neither Dave nor I would have ever considered, because that's not how the hobby business has traditionally done something. And it caught both of us off guard, and we both were like, huh. Why has no one ever thought of this?
Yeah. That was so true. I remember coming back after we dropped him off and everything, and we continued on our ride up to Massachusetts. I was fascinated, even with the concept of packaging.
Yeah.
Packaging, how important packaging is. Right now you're sitting in the room. Could you explain to everybody who's watching what those two furring strips are going to be?
Yeah. So I'm sitting in front of furring strips. This will be more pegboard eventually. We're doing a lot of the work ourselves for this store, and so the last 2 days we took possession of this place on Saturday, and I've been in here nonstop working, and so this is how we hang our pegboard. I mean, it's not on 2; it's actually 8 foot requires 5 furring strips to hang it so that it doesn't flex, so it goes up easy, nice, uniform. So yeah, these are 2 furring strips. To the right of me, there's already pegboard up. To the left of me, there is not pegboard up. I got another 40 feet to go that way probably with pegboard, and then opposite of me is sort of the wall of it is 120 feet long, and it is pegboard the whole way.
Would it be possible to get a scope of the shop?
Yeah, you want to.
Oh, any plans in the work? Okay. John Arthur wants to know any plans in the works to expand the scenery offerings. There are some European scenery brands that can be tough to find.
I don't know about the European ones, but I do know that we're going to be adding a large chunk of the JTT line in the near future. We've got to get in and set up and whatnot. That is the only scenery that I currently have on the schedule to be added. But
what scenery would that be?
JTT products.
Okay.
JTT, yeah. but that like my schedule right now is so focused on getting the shop up and going that the products that are getting added that are on the schedule, as I say, are products that like product lines. It's really like Tsunami, which we just need to place our initial order still. But we knew the move was coming and I didn't have space for it, so we've just been sitting in limbo. JTT products, they make a lot of scenery products that are similar to Woodland Scenics, but then they also make a lot that Woodland Scenics doesn't make. So it's a good um, addition without duplicating a bunch of stuff. Those are the two, and yeah, that's kind of the end of my list of what I know that I'm adding immediately.
Right.
I say immediately by year end, but and then once we, it'll take us a few minutes to get situated in here, and we don't want to overwhelm ourselves immediately. But we have lots of space to fill.
Yes.
We're cramped and shoved into that 2,000 square foot space, but we've got some room to grow here.
Human City Junction, Human City Heath is from New York City. He lives up on the west side of Manhattan. He's wondering when you'll be opening up a store in New York City.
Yeah, and I hear there's a bunch of open storefront right now.
Yeah, yes. Very, very people are leaving in droves. Yes.
Sure.
Human City Junction also says, I'm always surprised that N-scale cars come in really nice jeweled cases. And HO and O-scale always comes in cardboard boxes.
Katie Products puts theirs in jewel cases.
Do they?
Yeah. They're the only ones. I'm picking at straws here, but everyone else is in cardboard boxes, but Katie still puts theirs in jewel cases.
Yeah, someone has replied cost to create. John Arthur says, totally understand JTT makes some really good stuff too.
Do you want to do a shop tour? Is that what?
Sure. I'm just going over because some of the questions came in after we were and stuff like that.
So
Human City, Heath wants to know, is there a manufacturer that everyone should know about but might not know about them? I guess, is there a diamond in the rough?
Oh, manufacturer that everyone should know about that some of them don't know about. I think all the HO scale guys know about Details West. Showcase Miniatures. Does everybody know about Showcase Miniatures?
I didn't, but I do now.
Showcase Miniatures makes some really fantastic white metal products.
I think I got their garbage cans.
Possibly. They make I think the most popular product is they make the Grumman postal truck. Yeah, that's the Showcase Miniatures package.
Yeah, that's it. The garbage. I bought the trash cans. Sorry, I didn't say garbage. I'm from New York.
Rubbish.
Rubbish, whatever.
Rubbish bins.
It's garbage. So anyway. Okay, cool.
I mean, yeah, we can do a shop tour. Let me see if I can, rather than carrying my computer around.
Maybe use the phone.
Let me log in with my phone and then try to not get this to feedback and all that type of stuff, and we'll go from there.
Okay. So while you're doing that, I'll just talk. Let's see. You want to be? You got it. We're in the process of we are talking to Steve Atwell, owner operator of Midwest Model Railroad Hobby Shop, located in Independence, Missouri. He's also a fan favorite of us here at YouTube Model Builders / Model Railroading Live. Has worked on us on several projects and has now moved. Has an opening of the store, presently 2,000 square feet, and is presently moving into a 9,000 square foot building, and to which.
All right, my mic is mute. I think I've got both of them muted right now. Nope. All right. Let's see how we can do this. Unmute the phone. I think that works. So to the front of the store and work our way back. I've gotten a lot of steps in the last day, 2 days, week. It doesn't feel like the place is huge. I mean, when I look at a space, it doesn't seem like I'm. All right, so I am currently standing at the front, what will be the front door.
Oh,
You can see our beautiful checkout stand so far. It's 3 cardboard boxes signifying where the checkout stand will be built.
okay.
So at the front door, that is the start. This area here is the start of the in-scale section. There's only pegboard on the top half for the first 40 feet, which ends right about here, because all of the in-scale rolling stock and locomotives will go below that. And then we've got racking that'll go one row that's missing, just so we have some extra space to work. Row 2, 3, 4, and row 5. I think will actually be the majority of the in-scale stuff.
Steve,
Yeah.
Human City Junction, Heath says, what, you guys sold out of everything already?
Yeah. This space here, just beyond the checkout, there's currently a couple racks sitting there. I think we're actually going to we're going to put a sort of dedicated clinic area up here in the first chunk of space behind the checkout stand. And then as we go back, so we've got these 5 rows that'll be mostly in-scale stuff. Our right side of the shop is sort of going to be the non-scale specific stuff. So DCC stuff, scenery products, anything else that I'm forgetting, evergreen products, stuff like that will be on the right side, paints. This will be the first layout. It looks like racking because that's how we build our layouts. So this is 4.5 feet wide, or it's actually 4 foot 3 inches wide by 19.5 feet long. And this will be the in-scale display layout. And that's where the full height pegboard starts and continues all the way back to a total of 120 feet of pegboard going on back. And then we've got 1 additional row set up so far. We've got, so there'll be 5 more rows here. We still have to get, all of our racking that's in our current space will come down and help fill out the rest of this space. So now you're going back into sort of construction area. Pegboard all the way to the back wall back there. There's Gary, or my father. This will be the HO scale layout. It's missing a couple shelves, but it again will be 4 foot 3 wide by 19 foot 6 long. And then the racking will continue again all the way to the back. There's a nice big wide 7 foot wide center aisle that'll have end caps all the way down. And then you can see here where the furring strips are on the wall. Pegboard will continue down this wall. Pegboard will go across that end cap and then continue down the side wall there. And then you can see where more pegboard here, and then that's where I was seated. You can see the furring strips on the wall. And then this pegboard will continue all the way up to right about where that pipe is on the wall. And then books and magazines will go in front of that. But yeah, this is, so where I'm standing now, or I'll back up until the column is in view. So this column that's on the right side of the store is about 80 feet from the front door. So there'll be 10, 12 rows before in front of that column still, all the way up going forward. And then other spaces that we have, we know that we're not going to be fully ready to go on day 1. So behind this wall here, there's sort of a room that we can do all the construction type stuff in to keep all the dust contained into a single space. Behind this wall over here is about 1,200 square feet of shipping and receiving. Behind that wall there is bathrooms and break rooms and utility closets and offices. And then up front, behind that wall up front through that door over there is sort of just space that we can do events or, we're going to try to get some manufacturers to maybe come out, especially something like we've got Woodland Scenics not too far from us, so I'm going to get with them and see if we can convince them that maybe they want to do stop by the store or something.
Well, Mike from Cross Anchors Railroad, those are the O-scale guys, said it looks like you got plenty of room for O gauge there.
Yeah. So before I turn this cam, is there anything else that we want to look at?
No,
or I'll switch back to this one. Okay.
Switch back. Yeah, I think that is super impressive. Randall Ellis says only hobby shop I haven't seen that's even close to the size of this one is Mid South Hobby and Games in Memphis, Tennessee. Probably, but not to be nitpicky, and games. There's other things. This is just dedicated to model railroading. So there's not going to be any games. Cloverdale Rail says you may have to invest in some segways.
Yeah. Who was it? Somebody came in. We've shown the shop to a few different people in the last few days, and one of them walked in the front door. Or we're not using the front door, but we're using the door that off to the event space, which is right there in the front as well. And they walked in the door, and they were like, "Oh crap! I know what people's first thought's going to be when they walk in here. I should have packed a lunch."
Yeah. Let's see. Roadmap and hot dogs. That's right. You should offer a kind of like a hot dog stand. You should get one of those New York's push carts.
One of the little carts. Yeah.
I can come and work it for you.
Sell some Nathan's hot dogs with a blue and yellow umbrella.
Get your hot dog. I got your dirty water dogs right here. I won't even clean my fingernails.
Yeah.
Let's see. I got a couple of questions here. Great retail. Michael McCarville says great retail space for growth. Over 4 times current space. I may have to plan a road trip. And you may have Human City Junctions. Like, will you hire any out of work IATSE members? Apparently.
I mean, so far just me. There's actually I have a couple other projects in the works that I have actually hired. I hired a coworker of mine to do a special 3D. I need a 3D print for a project that I'm working on, and I don't really want to talk too much into it, but
okay.
a large quantity of them. The first thing I did was reach out to one of my lighting techs that I know has a family and I'm sure would love the money, and said, I really don't have time to do this. Maybe you could do this and charge me for it. He said, I can do that.
Good.
So I got to send him some pieces so that he can do the drafting and figure out the best way to set it up, and then just start 3D printing pieces for a project we're working on.
Good. Yeah, Dave at BNSF N-Scale says, Heath, it looks like I'm moving to Kansas City. Sorry. Nancy, in the spirit of Colorado Railroad, N-Scale wants to know, oh, yeah, well, yes. So will there be a way to order things from your store online?
Yeah, the website. Actually, the website is, I would say, it's not I would say, the website is the primary business. And was the sole business for what, 8 years before we moved into. All right, let me start. The website is midwestmodelrr.com. Our full inventory is on there. It tells you what's in stock, what's out of stock, and if it's in stock and you order it, it ships. If you order it right now, it'll ship tomorrow. If you order at 1 p.m. tomorrow, it'll still ship tomorrow. So the story there is, when we started, when we knew we needed more space, and when we started looking for commercial space, we found this place, the place that we're currently in, and it fit our needs perfectly, but it also enabled us to say, hey, as long as people are willing to shop in sort of a what we what we at least consider more of a warehouse style shopping experience, where we could just let people come into the store, and people seem to love it. Mostly, the number one comment we get is it's really well organized. Either you know exactly where it is, or I already know exactly where it is. Like, the store is meticulously organized because we're so focused on being able to meet that, get the order out same day. So yes, you can absolutely shop online. We take phone orders, but I can tell you, it is easier for both the customer. Generally easier for the customer. Definitely easier for the system on our end to grab the order online. And if you order online, you get loyalty points, and those loyalty points are redeemable for discounts at checkout.
Could you explain that loyalty points system?
Sure.
Something new that you've in
So yeah, it's new. It started about a month and a half ago now. So when you order product, you earn points. And when you go to check out, it says you have this many points and it is redeemable for this amount of money. Would you like to redeem it? Every time you check out, it says that. I was going to go with like the most simple, basic thing. You earn points and then you can spend the points. But that's ultimately, so for every dollar you spend, you earn 3 points. And those points are redeemable at checkout. I think it's 300 points per dollar. Ultimately, I think it's 300 points per dollar for redeeming. But we're going to start doing offering sales. Was always a huge pain in the butt, not because it's a pain in the butt to offer a sale, because we never know what to put on sale.
Because everything is usually on sale.
Because everything already is on sale. So what we're going to do now, instead of maybe doing sales like we have before, or figuring out what to put on sale, or trying to figure out the system to do that, we're going to start offering, and I think we'll probably start with this like a Black Friday sale, where you can earn double or triple points. We haven't confirmed anything yet. We haven't really figured out exactly what we're going to do, but I think for a Black Friday type thing, or Black Friday weekend type thing, we'll say for the next 72 hours you can earn double points with all your purchases. Yeah, so we tried to keep it as simple as possible. Spend $1, earn 300 points, redeem 300 points for $1 or whatever it is, something along those lines.
Right. Let me see. Yeah, Randall Ellis said something earlier in regards to the size of the shop. Just want to clarify that so we don't have any misunderstanding. Yeah, I understand what you were saying about the midnight size and games. Yeah, no, I know what you were saying. I was just saying they're basically a hobby shop. No, I understood completely, and I didn't mean to offend. So don't be sending me hate.
I've already drafted my letter. It's coming.
Here it comes. Randall Ellis, again, according to my GPS, I'm about 5 hours south of you guys, so you'll be getting a visit from him. How close are they to the Ozarks, my new favorite place due to the show? Human City Junction asks.
To the Ozarks, I think I could be at Lake Ozark in 2 hours and 15 minutes. So Lake Ozark sits on the eastern side of Lake of the Ozarks. Lake Ozark City.
Marcel Valor Cloverdale Rail says, I've purchased some hard to obtain Canadian pieces from Midwest at cheaper prices than from Canadian retail.
Yeah, that's Marcel has brought that up to us before. He's like, something's wrong here. You're selling it cheaper than I can get it for in Canada, and it's made in Canada. But there are 3 other hobby shops in town. We sell something for $80. They sell it for $100. So, it's a mixed bag. It might be Canada, but if they're selling it full retail.
True. Human City Junction wants to know, besides cork roadbed, what other items does Midwest manufacture themselves?
That is a different Midwest.
I thought so. It gets
That's
confusing.
that's Midwest Products. They're in Indiana. Uh, they make cork roadbed. They make wood products. I think that's pretty much it. I
Yeah.
don't quote me on that. I know that as far as we're concerned, for our shop, then cork and wood stuff.
Okay. Okay. Uh, Nancy and the spirit of the Colorado Scout says, "Well, this just may keep me away from Amazon and eBay." LOL.
Oh man, yeah, and that's the with Amazon and eBay, they're fantastic marketplaces, but they are marketplaces. They are the connection point between a buyer and a seller, and that connection point wants to collect money for what they're offering. So pretty much anything you buy on Amazon or eBay, if it's new, is going to be, I would guess, 10% more expensive than we would sell it for in store.
Hmm.
Minimum 10% more expensive than what we'd sell it for in store.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. You can end up with a lot of stuff from China if you're not careful on, I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of stuff comes from China anyways, but a lot of no brand, no nothing stuff from China. No markings.
Human City Junction, Heath again wants to know, do you have a secondhand market or is everything?
All of our stuff, everything we sell is new. Um, the secondhand market, anytime somebody calls us and offers, it says, "Do you buy stuff?" I've got a bulletin board in the office that has 3 or 4 different names on it. A couple say in scale, a couple say HO scale, and I try to remember which one I used last and hand out the number for the other one. We got a couple. So there's a handful of people here in town that are interested in doing that, and most of them are retired. They have the time to sit down and work. That's the thing with secondhand stuff. Um, it generally requires a lot of work to sell it in good condition, because
Mhm.
you're not going to get it in good condition. Uh, and even if you get it fixed up, or even if you provide it with exactly what the person is buying and like full descriptions, everything, we found that with the secondhand market, the returns on those, even with like perfect descriptions, and people will complain, well, the handrails are broken off on this one. And I was like, it's the second line of the thing, handrails broken. That's why you paid $3 for the boxcar and $5 shipping, or whatever the case may be. But our rate of return on secondhand items was greater than 30%,
Really?
and it's so then the customer's paid shipping, and they either want us to refund it or just upset that they had to pay shipping on something that they don't no longer want, and so it was just a big headache. So we found some guys that love to do it and are happy to do it and like to deal with the headache, I guess. So we just pass them right along to those guys.
Right.
And it works well for us because most of them are regulars here. So they sell some trains and they bring their money in and buy trains.
Oh, okay. So it's a win-win situation.
Yeah. I don't have to deal with it. And then they come and spend the money with us anyway.
Yeah, there you go. That works. That always works. That's so cool. So when this thing is up and running and you're going to hold clinics, are you in the clinic end of it? Are you going to invite modelers to do the clinics? Or
We've done that in the past. Shane Mason's come in and done a couple clinics. Tony Cook, the editor of Model Railroad News, has been in for at least one clinic. The one with Tony was more sort of an intro to the hobby type conversation versus a clinic. Gary actually teaches some scenery clinics.
did you
We're
have
gonna
Ron Marsh in?
we're Ron will be here at some point.
Okay, so
Uh,
we're in negotiations.
yeah. I don't know if he'll teach a clinic, but Ron is not a regular because he lives 90 minutes from here, but we work with Ron on a lot of things already. We're one of the primary sponsors for his channel.
Yeah.
And so we have very close relationships with Ron. So, I don't know what the situation will be with getting him to do a clinic but um, you could also you can find Ron here occasionally too. So
Okay. Yeah, I like Ron. Ron's a good guy. He's very knowledgeable and stuff like that. Uh, uh, I was Ron Holloman says you need to get Ralph Renzetti down to do a weathering clinic. A trip for him though. He's lives in.
yeah, that'd be an expensive trip
Yes,
for.
that would be. That would be.
Maybe we'll get him to do a virtual weathering clinic with. I mean, he could just do a virtual weathering clinic without us. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true too. Human City Junction wants to know: will you be moving back to New York City anytime soon, or are you going to stay in Missouri to run the train store full time?
As soon as my job is available to me back in New York, I'm out of here. I mean, I love my job. I love what I do for a living. I love the train store as well, but uh, I I still want to be working in theater.
Oh, yeah. I want you back in the city too, so that you can.
Yeah, I heard there's projects on your railroad that are waiting
Yes,
with my name on them.
they do. They are. They're waiting here for you. So Steve was instrumental. Steve, when Steve was in Manhattan, Steve would come down and literally spend the day. I would meet him at the ferry, and then we'd come have breakfast, and we'd work on the layout, then have lunch, and then him and my wife and I would sit and talk and get him back to the ferry, and then back up to Manhattan. And whenever he had a time off, he'd call up and say, "Hey, can I come on down?" And it's an open. So yeah, I got projects here that are just piling up, brother.
Yep.
Piling up.
We'll have to
Well,
make sure you place that order right before I fly back. So just
yes,
tuck at my
absolutely,
luggage instead.
absolutely. Yeah, that was okay. For those of you guys out there that think that what you're listening to and what you're hearing from Steve Atwell is about being an entrepreneur and working in the Broadway theater as an electrician and doing all these kind of things, one of the things you don't know about Steve is an excellent, excellent modeler himself. He has scratch built some amazing structures.
That's how you and I met.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
8 years ago when I actually produced some YouTube stuff.
Right. Exactly right. And he had done this Art Deco building.
Oh, the Las Vegas station.
Yeah, the Las Vegas station. And it was all done out of styrene and extremely well, great scratch building and a good model. You had an N scale layout in your dad's basement.
Yeah, there's an in-scale layout. Gary has an in-scale layout in the basement. Um, that actually got a big expansion, or is in the process of getting a big expansion since I've been here. Not due to me, just coincidence of timing. Um, and then I have a shelf layout in my apartment in New York.
Yes.
It's in 3 pieces, not broken into pieces. It was meant to be in 3 pieces. It can fit on my wall all at once. It's 12 and a half feet long or 14 feet long, whatever. It fills up my entire wall, but it's 2 feet deep. And when I don't, right now it's taken apart into its 3 individual pieces, so that I can have wall space. I guess I'm not there, but so I work on it in segments instead of staring at the whole thing and thinking to myself, "Oh God, where do I start?" Like, there's only a 4 foot segment in front of me. It's easy. I work on this
Yeah.
segment.
Yeah. And it's an N scale, right? N scale?
It is in scale. I am an in scaler. Yeah.
We won't hold that against you.
Yeah.
Randall Ellis wants to know of all the locomotives and rolling stock you guys sell, which ones are your personal favorite?
Are we talking brand? Are my personal favorite brands or like personal favorite models? Um, Man, that's okay. Uh, I really like 4750 hoppers. So I am a big fan of Intermountain because the Intermountain produces so many different variety or different road names of the 4750 hopper. So I'm a big fan of Intermountain's rolling stock. Um, Microtrains obviously has new stuff every single month, and you can't, you know, I'm not interested in all of it, but they actually come out with a decent number of things every single month to keep you always interested. Um, of course, Atlas is, is the industry standard. I'm not always interested in exactly the models that they make, but they keep coming. And then when I am interested in one, man, they have enough road names and road numbers in that single batch that you can fill out your railroad. So some of the new Athearn stuff, I've been really impressed with the in-scale stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that was mostly rolling stock. For locomotives, I think my favorite brand of locomotive is still Kato. I'm just always impressed with the way it handles, the way the way it works. It they seem to be bulletproof. But all the manufacturers have really started stepping up their game, and I think that's the benefit of one manufacturer will start doing something, the other ones, and then the populace will look at it and say, "Oh, I really like that," and then all the other manufacturers will scramble to try to add that too, which is nice to see our industry growing in that way.
Heath wants to know when you're working, what theater you work in.
Well, one more time, Johnny was coughing over the top of it.
Okay. Union City Junction, Heath wants to know when you're working, what theater do you work at or in?
Oh, it depends. It all depends on the show, whichever show I'm currently employed by. When all this started, I was working at the booth on Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, and I'd been there for a few months. Prior to that, uh, show, I was on Gary, sequel to Titus Andronicus, which was also at the booth. That was pure coincidence. And then prior to that, I think I was at the Jacobs for a long run for 4 or 5 months. I spent at the Jacobs, and then mixed in all of that. So that's about 2 years now. Mixed in all of that was a bunch of out of town work that I would go to for. There was a world premiere that we went and did in San Diego. So I was out in San Diego for a month or so doing a world premiere, and then worked on some tours, getting tours up and running. So I'd spend some months in random towns at the beginning of a tour to get a show set up.
Robert Holloman asks, Steve, what advice would you give to someone looking to start their own local hobby shop?
Sure. You have to embrace the way that people spend their money now. I would say that any hobby shop owner that still refuses to use the internet is simply on they may be still swirling around the toilet, but they're still the bottom of the toilet coming regardless. You have to adapt to how the world works. And people love to shop online. We've all sat at home in our pajamas and purchased things online. It's just I'm going to use you for example, Bill. Like you order from us often, and you could drive out to that Parsippany, New Jersey.
Yeah, Parsippany, New Jersey one.
And you could drive out there and get it, but you're going to spend $15 to cross the bridge. It's going to take you an hour 15 to get there, something like that.
Yep.
It's good. So you got 2.5 hour round trip. He's not a viewer of your channel, right?
He's your channel. No.
Then you get to deal with him being a jerk in the store, and hope that he has the product at that time. I assume you call out anymore before you go out there because of that. But so you're committing 4 hours, let's say 3.5 hours, just to go out there and get that single product. Where and this is where I'll say for me, I would rather spend 20 minutes of that 3.5 hours shopping online,
Right.
and then spend the remainder of that 3 hours working on my layout.
Right.
So it's just any you as an entrepreneur, you just have to embrace the way that any business is modern, right? Like you can't, you know, you can't set up a mom and pop general store now and expect to, I can't go to downtown Lee Summit and set up a mom and pop general store, and expect to stay in business. There's just no way I'm going to lose to already established people, online sales, or big box retailers. I'm going to lose to those people. But there is a way that if you embrace current methods with the way people shop, that you can be successful.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I also think that the coupled to the fact is customer service.
Yeah.
Customer service, because whenever I've picked up the phone, I've had a few incidences of wrong product being sent to me, and when I called up, that issue has always been taken care of. So customer service has always been, it's prime, and I think that you guys offer that in a sense, like, hey, it's not a big deal. Just send it back and we'll take care of it. Don't worry, we'll get it out to you. Or whenever I have an inquiry, it's always been very pleasant and, quickly answered and dealt with. So I think that's a major part of it as well. Professor, sounds like he says, it sounds like the old joke. How do you run a hobby shop and have a small fortune? Well, you start with a big fortune.
Yeah.
And Human City Junction says, are you a prototypical modeler?
No, not at all.
And Nancy in the spirit of Colorado Railroad N Scala says, it is so good to know another N Scala. And Heath asks again, hey, do you get a discount on personal purchases? Like, how many points do you have?
Yeah. I have, yeah. Well, I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, I, we technically own everything in this building. But yes, I get a discount on the products that I buy from us. I mean, I still pay more than it cost me to buy it the first time, I guess. I don't know. It's right. It's a little weird. It's just money changing because I solely own the business, right? Like it's when Gary makes a purchase or I make a purchase, all we're doing is really transferring money from our personal account to our personal business account. So
it personally goes back to your personal.
Yep. Before it, but
yeah, I think in some
we as owners in the shop, we do get a percentage off, and that percentage does the company still makes money on our purchases.
Did they call that money laundering?
Is the tax man on this call? What's happening here?
Randall Ellis says, well, I don't sit in my pajamas and order stuff, but I have ordered stuff when I'm in my vehicle or a rail crew van when I'm waiting on the crew.
We have a regular. His name's Zach. He comes in, I don't know, at least once a month. Works for BNSF, I think, and he was almost done with his shift, whatever, and he was like, "Oh crap!" He was out at our shop the day before, and he realized that he forgot to buy Solva set or something like that, and not thinking, he went on eBay, ordered Solva set, and then I guess then he got a confirmation that said your order has been placed, or it said, thank you for your order, signed Midwest Model Railroad, and I got a phone call that was like, and it was Zach, and he was like, "I'm an idiot. I just bought from you on eBay. Like, I was just out there yesterday. Please don't ship that. I'll just stop by and pick it up." Oh my God. We're not sitting on any trackage, so they have to get out of their car. They have to get in their truck and drive over. But yeah. And that's so yeah. I read an article today about, and it was an old article because I was trying to look up, and maybe somebody knows this and they'll put it in the chat screen, or maybe one of you guys know this. I was trying to look up Caboose Hobbies, the original Caboose Hobbies, because it was the world's largest hobby shop, and I think they got Guinness to actually world's largest train shop, and I think they got Guinness to come out and like verify that. So I was looking for the number. I was curious what the square footage was. I think I'm pretty sure it was bigger than we are. But I thought it was some 5-digit number, and I couldn't find it. And I came across an article by the Denver Post that was about the Caboose Hobby closing their location, or closing. The Caboose Hobbies closed whatever 2 years ago, and has reopened in Lakewood. Ignoring all that stuff that's happening, I found this article, and it goes in, and one of the things was the owner was talking about how the hobby is dying, and this kind of goes back to the entrepreneur question, I guess, how the hobby is dying, and like it's an aging hobby, and they're just dying out and things. And as I'm reading this, I'm just getting more and more aggravated because the guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. More than half of our customers are under the age of 45. More than 50% of our customers that walk in the door are under 45. I would say 33% of our customers are under 40. Like, the hobby's not dying. If you refuse to acknowledge how people like to shop, or refuse to acknowledge that there is a younger group of people out there, your hobby shop might be dying. But like, that's simply like, if your clientele, if you do any sort of business where you have clients and you've not reached out to try to get new clients, and you're just happy with the clients you have, at some point those clients are going to die.
Right.
And then you're going to go, your ship's going down with them because you didn't bother to try to find new passengers.
Yeah, exactly. Nancy, in the spirit of Colorado Railroad N-Scale, says, hey, I just registered on their website and I got 300 points.
Yes, yeah.
And Professor says, so is it actually possible storefront / LAX _ and _ online business? Aren't those two modes contradictory?
Not at all. I mean, one guy at our original grand opening was standing at the desk and talking to him, and he said, he was amazed. And what he said was, this is sort of just like the Sam's Club or Costco of model trains.
True.
You can, all of our product that is, and it has happened a couple times that one specific jumps out to me. There were a couple customers in the store at the time, and Dalton had been wandering around and eventually made it back over to me, and he's like, can you give me the price on that GP7 Burlington and CB&Q, the one that was out by Walthers? And I said, sure. And I looked it up, and I said, well, it cost whatever the number was, but we don't have any in stock. And because the websites, or the database is telling me we're out of stock on it. And he's like, yes, you do. It's back there on the shelf. And I was like, you might want to show me. So we walked back there, and he said, it was right here. It was sitting right here. And so I go back and I look, and yep, there was an order for it 2 minutes ago. And so I was like, oh, somebody ordered it online 2 minutes ago. And I guess I said, I guess somebody picked it. And then, and then I hear Gary talking to someone in the front room. And so I hollered out, Gary, any chance you got a GP7 CB&Q? And he was like, yeah, this guy's about to buy it. And I was like, he can't. It's already sold online. So it wasn't picked immediately. From when Dalton had walked past it and said, I'm going to ask about that, another guy came through behind him and picked it up. All the while, somebody had just purchased it online as well. So there are some fun things that happen because we're selling online and selling in store, but ultimately, our in-store shopping, ultimately, imagine you're just walking through our website. Um, you're in the warehouse. That is how we pick all our items, how we ship them all. Pretty much, um, our warehouse is just sort of open to the public.
Okay. Well, professor comes back and says, but running an LHS is a time suck with questions, percentage of time convert to sales, whereas online equals no human time wasted per sale.
I don't. Yes and no. Um, there is a massive, massive, massive amount of time that goes into um, having that online in the first place. Um, the amount of time that I invest simply to make sure that that website is clean, that all the products are there listed accurately. What description, if a manufacturer provides descriptions, to make sure the description is there accurately. There is a ton of time in that, and then we absolutely get a lot of phone calls and a lot of questions about before people buy it online. But yes, your in-store shopper, generally speaking, will dominate more of your time per purchase. Without a doubt, dominates more of your time per purchase than an online shopper does, especially in aggregate. Um, but one of the things that we kind of say, and we've told this to a lot of our local guys, the the fact that our warehouse is open to the public is sort of just like a service to the community. Um, our business model is based on the online sales, and you're able to come in and we have a lot of guys that will just shop online because it's really easy and mark a local pickup, and they'll literally walk in the front door, say, I have an order for Davis. We'll hand them their order and out the door they go. We have some that still don't want to do in-store shopping, which is totally fine. And they'll call us from the parking lot and say, can you come toss my order in the backseat of my car? Sure, no problem. So yeah, I mean, yes, having the store open to the public it is a bit of a time suck, but it is absolutely worth it.
To address that, I've always said that if I go into a store, a hobby shop, and I'm met with friendly people, people who are knowledgeable about the hobby, answer my questions, and spend time with me, and I only drop $30. When it comes time to drop that $300 on an engine or order something big, I'm going to go back to the people who took care of me when I asked the questions, and I didn't spend that much time and that much money there, but they spent time with me. Obviously, common sense takes. I'm not going to go there Saturday on a busy day.
Yeah.
To start, getting into detail, with one of the clerks there that I've come to work a relationship with. Obviously, that's not true, but during the regular downtime, it would be most, if I get that information, hey, I'm going to go back there and I'm going to drop the dime on that, and stuff. Yeah, got it coming. Southern Railroad question. He says, have you ever decided to carry an item just because you use it personally?
Yes. That's yeah, yeah. That has absolutely happened.
Yes. What? You know?
Uh, I couldn't tell you right off the top of my head, but I know that there are glues that we have in store simply because I wanted them. I know that there are paints that we have in store because I wanted them. The funny part is there's the caveat to that is I hate carrying like a single product of a line. So I might want Tamiya super fine spray in gray, but when I order it for the store, I order all the colors so that I can get the gray.
All right. Yeah. Randall Ellis says there are two hobby shops close to full-time hobby in West Plains and Rogers Hobby Shop in Thayer, Missouri. While they do sell trains, they mostly are in the radio control market.
RC has seen a huge resurgence. I don't know if resurgence. I don't know anything about RC, but I know that RC is really popular right now. And we've gotten a couple of our guys tell us that we should really carry RC in the store. And this goes sort of back to the O scale. I don't know anything about RC. I couldn't even begin to service it.
Right. We have a hobby shop out here in Staten Island that it's a hobby shop, but it really is an RC thing. And if you go in there and you ask for model railroading stuff, which he does have, but not really up to date stuff, he kind of poo poos you, you know, tries to steer you to the RC car stuff.
Yeah.
So I know that we've been on my layout, the South Brooklyn Railroad layout, that I ordered all my track, every switch on this thing was bought from Midwest Railroading. And when I sent the order in,
the initial order, yeah. I was home for that one too. I was in Kansas City for that one.
Yeah, Steve sent me pictures of him putting it in his car. He says like wrestling a 5-year-old child.
I would guess that we probably shipped it in a 40-inch by 6-inch by 6-inch box.
Yeah.
Which did not fit in my Ford Focus very well at the time.
Yes. Yeah, I remember the pictures. You were forcing it in, you know, kidding like you were kicking it in. And I was like, well, don't be kicking that box.
Yeah.
What track is it?
If you only knew what the USPS did with that box.
I'm sure. Yeah, I got it. You know, I know when I got it. Randolello says, if I ever owned a model railroading shop, every item would be something I would use myself. It's so correct. Mystic Southern Railroad says you'd be bankrupt and stuff like that. But listen, Steve, thank you so very, very much for taking time out of your very, very busy schedule. I know you're under a time crunch there to get this up and running and get opened up on this coming Monday, is it?
Yeah, so I mean we're gonna run in our normal shop until Saturday at 5 p.m. and close doors at 5 p.m. like normal. And then at 10 a.m. on Monday, when we would normally open our normal shop, we'll just open here instead. It's not going to be perfect. There's still going to be a lot of kinks to work out, I'm sure, and a lot of, maybe not kinks. There's still going to be a lot of stuff to get put up around the shop. But the lion's share will be done. Stuff will be where it's supposed to be. But it's not going to be polished yet. That's for sure.
Well, we thank you very much for taking time out of this really busy schedule, Steve, and sharing it with us on Who's Big Bill Talking To tonight. Just want to say that this coming Saturday on the 17th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, small layouts, big opportunities with Tom Clementi and John Farrington and Al Bogensky. Yes, I hope I'm pronouncing their names right. But this Saturday, small layout, big opportunities, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's going to be the last of the series that they have been doing for us, and we will be with them this Saturday night. Also, next Wednesday, on the 21st of October, we're going to have the Gandy brothers. They're two guys that are partners in an HO scale layouts. And we're going to be talking with them in regards to their layout and what they've been up to in doing, changing from HO to N scale. So another N scale, Steve, I have to send them your way and stuff like that. So please check out Midwest Model Railroading Hobby Shop. If you registered like Nancy did, you'll get that 300 points. And
if you register for the newsletter, I think it's a pop-up at the beginning. If you register for the newsletter, it also provides you a coupon off your first purchase.
And there you go. And does the SBK
that one still works too?
Yeah. So if you guys want, write down SBK RR, and you get a 5% discount one time thing. So make it. See, we're giving you, and this is all giving it away for nothing. Free stuff we're giving you. So, but anyway, thank you so much. And again, my apologies to Sir Rod Stewart. We were supposed to have him on at this segment to talk with us, but apparently we ran out of time, so we couldn't get him on. So, Rod, we do apologize. I know that your staff has called me several times, left some pretty upsetting messages. A little better of you that you would use such language. But, hey, I understand. We're going to try next week, brother. We're going to try next week. Anyway, you guys be out there, be safe, be well, but most of all, be blessed, and we'll see you on the radio. Thanks, Steve, again for joining.
Yeah, thanks, Bill.
Good night.